All right, so we have started recording here on another episode of Talking Schmidt. I'm Ethan Schmidt. I'm very excited for my guest today, and one of the main reasons why I'm excited for my guest today is because this is the first time that I'm getting to interview not only an athlete at Austin Peay, but one of my former students as well in Macee Roberts. Hello, Macee. How are you? How are things?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so excited to have you here. Like I mentioned, I got a chance to teach you your first year at Austin Peay.
Yes.
So you transferred in from Miami of Ohio. Yes. You came to Austin Peay. You were in my public speaking course. So you were here first semester already, but I got you that second semester. First and foremost, before we even talk softball, before we talk transferring to Austin Peay, one of my favorite things about you is your love for birds and wanting to study birds. I think it's one of the most unique things about any athlete that we have here. Talk a little bit about that first. What is like, because I know you had the penguin tattoo, right? Yes. So I know that. Talk a little bit about this like love for birds. Where does that come from and what you're trying to do with that?
So it kind of started when I was super young. I've always wanted to do marine biology. So when I was growing up, my grandma actually loves penguins, and she got me into liking penguins. I was the weird, third grader who was checking out penguin books from the library, and I would learn everything about them. I knew every fact. I've known since, I was 7 years old that there's 18 species of penguins. I always told my parents when they were like, where do you want to go on spring break? Antarctica. I was, the really weird kid. So that kind of, I started with that, and then I was actually, I had some issues, medical issues growing up, and I ended up going to Riley's Children's Hospital, which is in Indiana. It's the biggest children's hospital in Indiana. So I was going through some tough medical stuff there, and my parents decided to get me a parakeet as a gift. They got him for free. I named him Perry. He had a injured handicapped leg, so he was really mean, and I could barely touch him. And actually getting him out of the box that PetSmart gave us, he bit my dad, and that's the first memory of my dad crying. It was dramatic. But then, so we actually had 5 parakeets growing up. But honestly, I was a little too young to really have pet birds because we didn't clean them or anything. My mom did that. And actually, the last one that ended up living, his name was Lightning. He was a yellow parakeet. My mom was cleaning the cage outside, and he flew away. So that was a little rough. So then I always stuck with marine biology. I always knew I wanted to do something with animals. So whenever I was getting recruited, I looked at somewhere that had either zoology or animal biology. So when I went to Miami, I was a zoology major. And then that was probably one of the hardest parts about hitting the portal was finding a school that had biology or zoology, but if it did have biology, that wasn't just medical based because I wanted nothing to do with the medical field. So when I ended up coming here, I started taking zoology, ecology, and I knew obviously being in Tennessee, they didn't have any marine stuff, which I was okay with because any experience is great experience. So then I met Dr. Haas, and I got into bats, which is super cool because she's a mammologist. She handles the mammal lab. So I'm bats are probably the closest thing I'm going to get to birds without working with birds. And then I took an ornithology class my second semester of my senior year, and I fell in love with birds again. And I also have Puff and Pearl, which are 2 parakeets that are my babies at home. So it's the best of both worlds.
And you mentioned bats, and I love that you mentioned bats because I learned that you are going to be studying bats this summer, right? That's
yes.
The whole
and that's
program, right?
Yep, that's my master's. That's actually what I'm studying in my thesis. I'm doing bat work, and I feel like it's perfect because I'm handling mammals, but I feel like they're very similar to birds, so it's perfect.
And I know for you, because me at least, being around Austin Peay, all the games used to be played in the Dunn Center.
Yes.
And there were bats that would get in at least once or twice a game, it felt like.
Yes.
Do you feel like you've been a little bit, because we've been in the arena, do you feel like you've been let down a little bit? Because you've probably heard the bat stories in the Dunn.
Yes, I've actually had a few student athletes, some of my teammates and then other athletes send me Macee, come get your bats in the Dunn Center, or I vividly remember my fall or spring of junior year, there was a bat actually in Sunquist before one of my 8 a.m.s, and I had a class with some of the grad students, and she was actually in the bat lab at the time, but I didn't know her that well, and she just went, grabbed a glove, picked it up, put it on a tree, and I was like, what is going on? But that was before I was in the lab, so I was like, this is crazy. But now that I know, they call on the mammal lab to go get any mammals that are on campus here at Austin P. Like a few weeks ago, some of my friends that are going to be doing my master's with me, they had to go get a possum from one of the buildings, and they took it to the farm. It was crazy.
That's insane.
I know.
Cody Bush used to be the bat wrangler during games. That was his
crazy.
job. Cody would have to try to trap the bat or
Yes.
like, shoo it. So that was always fun to watch Cody try to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really, really fun. But I'm so excited for you, obviously getting a chance to do something that you truly love, because I think a lot of times for athletes when they come to an area, and like you mentioned, like you were in the portal and you didn't know, like, you know, what if I love a school but they don't have what I want to study? Like, how does that affect where you come? So definitely cool that we have some sort of program here at Austin P that you're able to, you know, continue following a dream, which is really, really cool.
Yes.
Now we'll get into the other style of bats. We'll talk a little softball here for you. First and foremost, what has been the journey? Like, what got you into softball and what's made you love it? Because, I mean, you've done it for most of your life now. So what is that journey like for you?
So my parents kind of threw me into T-ball when I was 4 years old. It was like co-ed. They threw me in with a friend that I had named Anthony when we were super young. And then it kind of just progressed. I played on the local, township league. And then I finally got into A travel ball. I played for some B travel ball teams, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for competitive wise. So then we actually knew some people in my township that I grew up being friends with, played on an A travel ball team. So we moved to that team. And then that's kind of where it started. I don't really remember what grade that was in, maybe 4th, 5th grade. And then I had to move up because 10U move up to 12U, and that's when I started playing for Walt Perry, and he was my travel ball coach from that point on until I got recruited and I went off to college. And I feel like that's pretty rare nowadays just because travel ball, like, you're moving around, finding a coach that fits. But I played for Walt for like 8 years, I believe, and he got me recruited. And then I met some of my best friends that, I mean, we don't talk all the time, but I'm going to go home and see her in a few weeks and stuff. And they actually came to EKU, my travel ball coach did, which was, I didn't know they were coming, so it was a great surprise. But we started playing. We started traveling a lot. My travel ball team was really, really good. Like, we were like the OG Shockwaves team. I can't even express, like, how good we were. 1 year in middle school, I think it was like 7th grade, we were 108, 8, and 6. Like really, really good. First of all, I don't know how we played over 100 games a year. Like, that would probably put me out now because I'm old. But it was actually incredible. And then all my teammates, we all ended up getting recruited. None of us, it was insane because we were such a good team, but none of us went Power 5. We all went mid-major or D2, D3, NAIA. So it was super cool seeing that, especially since we played against girls who were at the big schools now, going to regionals and stuff. It's actually insane. But yeah, I ended up getting recruited. It was like before the rule changes. I started going on visits. 8th grade, freshman year is when I got my first few offers. I wanted to commit before the rule changed my freshman year to Miami, and my mom made me wait because she said if it's the right choice now, it'll be the right choice junior year when they can reach out to you again. I was mad at her at the time, but I'm very thankful she made me wait because I got to go on super cool experiences. I went to Kentucky, went on a visit there, which I obviously knew I probably wasn't going to Kentucky, but getting to experience that was super cool. Like, I can say I did it. And then September 1st rolled around. Coach C at Miami at the time reached out to me. She wrote me a letter, which I thought was super cool because it was, like, personalized and all that. And then a week later, I went there and committed. It was the best decision. Probably the happiest I'd ever been because I knew if I liked it my freshman year and I waited till junior year and it still felt right, like, one could only ask, like, dream of that. And it was an hour and a half away from home, which is, like, close enough that my parents could come to everything, which is what I wanted because they didn't put the however many years prior into travel ball for them not to be able to watch me play if I traveled super far away. But I still got the college experience, which was awesome. And then freshman year, didn't really plan out how I wanted it to be, but obviously I'm here for a reason. Like, I'm so thankful it did not work out because I probably wouldn't have a professor I'm doing my master's under right now because Miami was a bigger school and there were so many smart kids there. It was actually insane. Yeah. So it worked out, and it's great.
What was it like with Coach Stanfill reaching out to you after that season when you hit the portal? Obviously, like you said, I mean, that's a tough decision on many reasons, but, you got to do what's right for you. And what was that journey like through the portal, getting a chance to reach out, and you get Coach Stanfill reaching out to you and saying, like, hey, we're not Miami of Ohio, but come to Austin Peay and do something special?
Yeah, so I actually knew Coach Bree and Coach K before I got here because they recruited me. She recruited me when she was at Louisville, and then Coach Bree recruited me when she was at IUPUI. So it was kind of nice. I knew another reason I was worried about entering the portal, but not really because of my recruiting process in high school. So I knew I would probably have coaches that would reach back out, which was relieving. So when I saw Coach Bree and Coach K reach out to me, I was like, oh, this is exciting. Like, good stuff right here. And then I actually hopped on a phone call with Coach K, and she was talking about how she wanted to bring me to campus and stuff. And it was super cool because one of my friends, Sydney Jones, I played travel ball with her for 7-8 years, and then she actually went to Miami for 2 years, so I got to play with her for a year because she was a year ahead of me. She actually was deciding between here and Miami, so I kind of knew of Austin Peay, but not really. So it was kind of nice because she also knew Coach K and stuff, so I kind of had a little word of mouth before I talked to Coach K. But then I came here on my visit, and it was actually kind of weird because when I was getting recruited again, I was like, I love how I look in red. So I was like, if I could end up at another red school, that'd be awesome. And also Miami's campus is beautiful, and they have all brick, and I was like, I love brick buildings. And I'm like, I came here, and I was like, they're red and they're brick. And Coach K is awesome. They might have me sold. They might have me sold. So my second time around, my first time around, they said not to pick a school because of a coach, but because of my experience, I was like, I'm picking a school because of a coach this time. I'm so thankful I did. Coach K was like picking a school and picking Austin Peay because of Coach K was probably the best decision I ever made. No,
and we're, like I said, I mean, and like I've told Sam, we got a chance to talk to Sam Lesky, and we're very thankful, for everybody. I mean, you've been here for several seasons. I know Sam and Kaylee, this is going to be the one and done for them, but just to have them here was super cool, and to let them experience kind of, Austin Peay and Clarksville, because, I mean, they're both Florida girls growing up, so they're like,
crazy.
There's no water here unless it rains out my window. And we get and the Cumberland is not where you want to be at unless you're on a boat, and a fancy boat at that, for certain. So, again, to have you guys make that decision, it really just shows, I think, more than anything, at least from an outside perspective, is just Coach K and what she has meant to this program. And, she is the all-time winningest coach, and you've been a big part of that through that time. You have had a really, I think, there's a couple players that I would mention on a broadcast where you have just gotten better each and every year. And that's not me just trying to make you feel amazing today. But ultimately, each season that you've been here, your role has increased so much, and you've gotten so much more, and you're relied on more, things like that. What was that feeling like from that first season here? You were doing a lot of designated player. You were coming in pinch hit spots. You had some special moments. You always seem to hit home runs on the road, so I don't ever get to call them. But up to kind of being that, then last year they were still trying to figure out maybe where Kylie was going to play, because we knew Kylie was a good player, and Kylie Hinton had to play somewhere. We had to figure her out. But again, you had Morgan, who had not missed a start at second base, so if Kylie's a good second baseman, you can't replace her, because Morgan was such a good player. But for you fit that spot at third, and then this season you never left it. Right. But it's been just this kind of growth. What do you think kind of attributes to you continuing to grow in that aspect?
I always knew I was kind of a hitter growing up. I love hitting. I mean, I like defense too, but hitting was my jam, especially when I was younger. When Coach K first recruited me, she actually still jokes about it. She was like, "You were a big kid, but you could swing that bat," and I was like, "That's when I was getting recruited again, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to make an impact. I want to be in the lineup. And I know in college, hitting gets you in the lineup. Like, obviously, if you're a great defender, that's great. But if you have a great bat on top of that, that just makes you an even better, like, more reliable. So I knew coming in, I told Coach K, I was like, I want to make an impact. Like, my stats at Miami, I didn't get that many at bats, but I took advantage of them. 2 of my, like, 3 or 4 hits were against Power Fives. Like, Virginia Tech, my very first at bat, first hit against Virginia Tech, they were ranked 3rd in the country at the time. I'm like, I'm trying to make a name. I'm trying to make my stats, like, prove, like, I can make a difference in your lineup. And then my first hit as a Gov was against Tennessee. They were ranked in the top 5 at the time. I got a pinch hit in the top of the 7th. I'm like, see, I'm here. I want to make a difference. And I think my sophomore year, I didn't get as many starts, as I thought I was going to transferring in, but I bought into my DP role or my pinch hitter role, and I think that's really what helped me grow. Was I knew even if I wasn't starting at third my junior year, I'm still in the lineup. Coach K was like, I'm keeping you here, like, we need you in the lineup. So I think owning my role at the time got me to where I am today, playing third every game and owning my spot. Whether I was batting third or if I was batting 7th in the lineup, I was making a difference no matter where I was at.
Tell us a little bit about Team 40, because it's been a special team. There's no doubt about it. I've mentioned it with Kylie and both Sams. I've had Sam Miner and Sam Lesky in here. And obviously Kylie and Sam coming in together in that first kind of, watching it grow. You came in very early. It wasn't like oh, here I am, whatever. I'm going to jump in here. You came in at an early stage with them, so you've been here for, Team 38, 39, and 40 now. What has it been like to be on Team 40?
Oh, I've been so lucky. Like, I'm so happy I finished with the Team 40, and I'm so glad this was my senior year. I honestly think having a lineup that swings it like Team 40 does made the biggest difference, because it was kind of weird at the beginning of the season. Like, obviously, I started out a little rough my first 3 weekends. I was like, what is going on? I know how to swing a bat. Why? I feel like I always have slow starts, but that's okay because we turned it around. But I had so many conversations with people, and they're like, you don't have, like, there's no pressure on you this year. Like, we have a lineup who can swing it. We have a defense that's going to get the job done. Like, you don't have to worry about being the hero. And we constantly talked about that, because last year and the previous years, you felt like you had to be the person to win us the ball game. And this year it's like, no, you can pass the bat, because I promise you the person before you and after you is going to get the job done. Just you do your job and then pass it on. And it's just crazy, because we never had that before. So I think that's one thing that made Team 40 really special. And obviously it showed in the numbers. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. You
guys broke records in hits, home runs. You beat your first ever ranked opponent.
Yes.
What else did we have this year? You had the 24-game win streak, which at one point was the nation's longest. Oklahoma lost to Missouri that day early.
Yes.
So you guys were the longest reigning at that point.
We had back-to-back Grand Slams or something. We were breaking records we didn't even know
were
like
the back-to-back home runs, which you were a part of.
Yes.
You had games with back-to-back home runs for like the first time in the history of the program. And then, of course, Bree hit for the first ever cycle.
That was crazy. I was like, why do they keep throwing to her? And someone said, I think because they want to see it too. And I was like, probably. Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, so you guys this season have been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, there's no other way to put it. What was, and again, you've also, I know it's going to be kind of a bittersweet moment, because you made it to the tournament.
Yes.
The teams won once before. You saw that before.
Oh, yeah.
Against Stetson. And then this year, you guys made it past that single elimination. Mm-hmm. You were in the double elimination round. You got a chance to stay a little bit longer there in Oxford.
Yes.
What was that experience like? Because that's kind of, I mean, I coach, so I've been around coaching for a while. Not in softball, but in other sports. At the beginning of every season, you sit down as a team, you look at your seniors, and you say, what do you want to accomplish?
Right.
And coaches' goals sometimes aren't the same as player goals. What was that a part of it? Like, we want to be, this team that is going to make a run, or at least be thought of as making a run?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we sat down as a team at the beginning of the year, and we actually made little, index cards, and we wrote down individual goals, team goals, and we actually accomplished our team goals that we made before like conference tournament. We wanted 35 plus wins. We accomplished, and we wanted to be top 3 in our division, which we did. And I think not only it's on the softball field, of course, like that's where we get the job done. That's where the numbers, all that. But honestly, it's like Mudita too. Like I've never felt Mudita like I have since like probably travel ball, which I always told the coaches. I was like, we just feel like a travel ball team, which is honestly what we like. I'm not mad that we feel like a travel ball team. Like we're like all besties. We're singing, dancing on the bus before rain delays. We're sitting there singing our hearts out. Like they're doing the little TikTok interviews in the closet at Lipscomb, but you can hear us in the background singing, and we're like karaokeing. This was the first time we did dinners in the fall, like monthly. We would all kind of do like a potluck type thing. All the families got along. I think Mudita is like what made the difference, and I know that. I mean, that's not one of the goals, but when you bring in great people like that, it makes like accomplishing the goals even easier. So it's great. It was great.
What was it like being a leader now? Because when you come in, obviously, there's always going to be that whole mindset of like, there's older players already here. I'm not going to try to rock the boat. I just want to do my job.
Yes.
But now for you, at least in the season, it was like, if somebody's rocking the boat, I got to steady the boat. Like I have to be the one that fixes that. What was it like this season for you as now a team leader and as a captain?
I think it was, I mean, of course there's going to be times in the season, times in certain games where it's a little rockier than others. But I definitely feel like us seniors, the whole class, like we wanted to make a difference. We wanted the freshmen to come in and feel like they had a voice. They weren't just freshmen who we're going to look down on. Even transfers, like I know it can be difficult being a transfer, but coming in, we gelled like I've never gelled with not even a class, but like 5 freshmen and 5 transfers. Like we gelled. Even Kylie Hinton, Bree, Emma, they all came out of their shell this year, and it was a beautiful thing to see because, I mean, I didn't know I'd be besties with Emma, but I absolutely love Emma. And I don't know, it's just crazy because I know even as a leader and a captain, I didn't want to be looked upon as the mean senior who's going to bully all the freshmen. And I feel like the seniors didn't talk about that, but that's something me and Kylie definitely were like, we want to be the loving seniors and kind of show the younger classes how it can be done when you're a senior.
Yeah, and I thought you guys did a really good job of that. Emma, obviously being from Henry County, probably helps that out a lot with the whole aspect of how she grew up. You know, and Henry County is not a major major area when it comes to. I guess it's not like a metropolis out there. Paris, Tennessee is your big town out there, and it might have an Eiffel Tower there, but it's a little bit different when you go into Paris. So, but it's really cool that you had that experience. And then I know that you guys also had ag majors. This is probably one of those teams where I don't know how many ag majors you get across there, but you, Kylie, and then Cam as well are all in kind of like the ag, the animal study, and veterinary studies. Yes. So what was it like being on a team where you had people where you're like, hey, because it's probably for you, you're probably used to being like, the oddball. Yeah, well, you're not even only that, but just like, you have people that you can actually discuss like a future with. Where a lot of times you have business majors and comm majors. Nothing wrong with being a comm major, me, but you don't really always have those people who are like, Kylie is gonna have a farm one day, and Cam's gonna study animals, you're studying animals, what was that kind of like?
It's actually great. When I first came in, knowing Kylie was an ag major, it was great that like when we first became friends, we'd talk about animals, and I'd talk to her dad about animals, this and that. And then last year when we got super close, I started asking her what she's going to do in the future. She tells me all about her farm plans. So it's really nice having like an actual best friend who we could sit there and talk about animals and our careers for 3 hours and not talk any softball, and it was kind of a getaway. And then her dad's a farmer, and I actually went down to a farm that he works at this past summer. We spent like 4 hours, 5 hours of our day just driving around the farm, like looking at animals, and we go out on the swamp, we'd look at animals, and I'm like, this is great, like exactly where I'm supposed to be. And then Cam comes in this year. She's a ag major. She wants to do veterinarian stuff. She's asking me all about these birds that I'm seeing. She's telling me how she goes to the farm. Macee, I went to the farm today. I was like, no way, girl, I was there too. Like all this. And then actually towards the end of the season when we were in Oxford, she was like, you going bird watching today? I'm like, yeah, girl. She's like, can I come? I'm like, absolutely, you can come out. I'm showing her all the birds that I'm seeing. She's telling me, she actually showed me a anatomy coloring book that she's just doing for fun. She's like, I made this bird a blue jay. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. It's awesome having people that, I mean, all of them, all my teammates, they're like, you're weird, but like, you're a bird girl, you're a bird nerd, like, you're really good at what you do. You're probably the best note taker I've ever seen. So they embrace, like, my weirdness and my quirkiness, which I absolutely love because, like, Jade, she was with me all season at third base, and at practices, she'd be like, Bird Boy, what you doing? So it's, like, it's great having those people. And then Cam, obviously, like, she called me STEM bestie. It's so nice having a freshman, like, come out of her shell and ask me. I'm asking her about how her classes are going. She's asking me, and then obviously Kylie's been through the whole ag program, so she kind of knows what Cam's doing a little bit more than I do. So it was a great way to bond with everyone.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you guys can kind of have those bonds because there's a lot of birds that fly around.
Oh,
Kathy
yeah,
Maynard
absolutely.
Park.
Yes, and she's like, Macee, what kind of bird is that? Or senior day, I know you weren't there, but there was actually a baby mockingbird, and Bree, I told you about Timmy.
Yeah.
Timmy in center field. I think it was Timmy's baby. We were running our sprints, and Cam, I was like, Cam, Bree, you see that bird over there? And they're like, Macee, I don't think it can fly. And it was all the way in left field, like over by the tarp. So we're running across the field in front of however many fans we had that day, and I walk back over with it, and I have it in my hand like this, and everyone's clapping for me, and it's like Simba in The Lion King, and they're like, what kind of bird is that? I'm like, it's a baby mockingbird. I'm like, this is a baby Timmy, Bree. So I think it's hilarious. Like
awesome.
We say Timmy, and everyone knows what kind of bird it is, even if whether you're a biology major, STEM major or not, you're gonna know what kind of bird it is. So
that's awesome.
Great.
I love that. I love that for you guys as a team because it just shows what we've been talking about and what I've talked about with Kylie and what I've talked about with Sam and Sam Lesky is just like this mindset of like, you know, we're here to support each other. And I think that's so cool to be able to see that because there are so many teams that you can look at, and the good ones, I always feel they're ones who care about each other, and the ones that you can kind of tell have struggles are the ones who don't have that camaraderie and they don't have that like we care what this person's interested in and what they care about. So I love that. I love that for you guys as a team because that's absolutely phenomenal that you guys were able to do that. And then again, in your final season to have that as well is super cool. So I'm super, super glad that you've had that chance. And there's been a lot of, you know, and that's been the just the kind of rolling I guess the same thing that I've heard from everybody else is just how much fun you guys have had together. So I love that for you guys, and I love the fact that you're able to kind of see that. Now, you mentioned your family. Your family's amazing, by the way.
Love them.
I feel like I'm a long-lost cousin after this season. I've met your entire family.
I know. When my mom pulled you over senior day, I was like, oh no, you're meeting everyone.
And that's fine. Like I said, I mean, I feel like I'm a long-lost relative at this point with your family. Absolutely love them. I understand a lot now of why you're such a good human by getting a chance to meet your family, and I'm just very glad that I've had that experience as well with you guys because it's been so cool to get to know you and your family, the extended family now, and everybody. One of the kind of final thoughts for you is just like, you know, and I don't want it to be like a sad, somber moment, but like, what are you going to miss most about, I guess, not even just like softball, but this team?
I don't know. I feel like since I'm still going to be living here for 2 years and I'm living with Jada and Maddie, I think it's going to be really weird them coming back from softball and talking about it. And, like, obviously I'm going to know a lot of the team, but then they're going to be talking about the new players, and I'm going to be like, they can tell me about it all they want, but it's like I'm not there to really get to know everyone. So I'm like, that's going to be really weird. And I'm, like, trying to mentally prepare myself now, but I know it's not going to be the same until, like, it happens. And, I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing. I'm so happy I'm still living with softball just because I don't know who else I'd live with. But it's definitely going to be weird, and I think that's what I'm going to miss most. Like, I'm definitely still going to have my people. Emma's like, man, too bad you're stuck here for 2 more years. And Bree and Kylie Hinton and Katie, Sammy, all of them. But I think that's probably going to be the hardest part. Like, obviously physical stuff, like hitting a ball, like, going to miss that and going to miss going to practice and being around everyone. But I think hanging out and getting to know everyone, that's probably what I'm going to miss most because it's so much more than just the game.
Absolutely. And I'm sure Coach Stanfield will call you at points to come out there and.
Oh, for sure. I told Jade I was going to be in the third base dugout while she practices, watching her at third.
I love that. I love that for you guys. I am so happy for you. I'm so proud of you as well.
Thank you.
So glad that you got a chance to experience Austin Peay. Yes. I'm so happy that that's something that has happened for you. Like I said, I mean, being able to watch you grow has been really cool. Like I said, you only hit home runs on the road. By the way, and Alex Allard pointed this out to me, you guys broke every record.
That's crazy.
And you hit everybody that had a day. All happened on the road. I called none of the big moments this year. Isn't that insane?
Why?
I have no idea. So I was sitting there and I was like, he texted me after Bree's cycle and he said, what do you think? And I was like, oh, it's so great. Like, I'm so happy. And he was like, you've called no major moments this year. I said, you're right. I haven't. I mean,
that's so crazy.
I think the only major moment I had at home was the comeback against MTSU. So the first home game, and after that, you guys hit home run record on the road, hits record on the road, Bree on the road. I mean, it was everything was on the road. But again, as a fan, and as an alumni, of Austin Peay, I'm so fired up for you guys. But it was definitely a little heartbreaking.
I didn't even realize that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
we couldn't save anything for at home.
That's okay. Yeah. You did it on the road. It's better sometimes to do it against the opponents at their own home place. I'll allow it.
Rub it in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like, hey, we just hit our home run record at your ballpark. So definitely cool though for you guys. And I'm super proud of everything that you've been able to accomplish here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Hey, absolutely. Well, that's going to be the time that we have for this episode of Talking Schmidt. Again, want to thank Macee Roberts. Want to thank all of Team 40 that's been on the show. I'm going to try to get a chance to talk to Coach K at some point. Sweet. Alex and I are trying to work on that at some point to get her maybe a little bit later on in the season. But again, thank you guys for everything. I mean, like I said, the cards on the wall, your signed photos on the wall. You guys will always be there. I always have my students sign something if I've taught them and have them sign the wall. But I'm so very thankful that I've gotten a chance to get to know you. I'm so excited to see what you do. So I'm going to stay in the loop with you as much as possible. Like I said, I mean, at some point I'm going to invite it to a family reunion or something. That's right. I'm just going to have to make the trip up to Indiana, which I do anyway with my wife. So, because her family's there. So I think somehow it was meant to be. Exactly. Yeah, I'm related to your family at some point. So Macee, again, thank you so much. And thank you so much for everybody who's been listening and joining us. We're going to probably try to get a couple more over the summer. I know it might not be athlete. Might be some coaches and some of the sports information people, but excited to get everything rolling. And again, we still have our big news that we're going to announce about the fall with a little bit of extension of this show and something else. So that's still coming up for everybody this summer. But again, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you join us again next time.